What's going on, people? It's your boy Portal Rock 77 back with another video. I'm about to do a little quick sound check. I know Google's been kind of messing up. So I have my video playing. I just want to. Yep. It's your boy Portal Rock 77. Okay, that sounds cool. I just want to do that little quick mic check. I know sometimes Google Hangout kind of messes up. I may be botting and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to make sure I give you guys the best possible sound quality that I can possibly do right now. But anyway, what's going on, everyone? How you doing to my subscribers? If you're a live listener or if you end up listening to the recorded podcast, sorry about that. I appreciate you stopping by and listening. I appreciate the support. I appreciate each and every one of you that got me over 1,000. I read your comments as much as I can because I enjoyed the feedback. So please keep commenting. Please keep subscribing. If you're new to this channel, if you're listening to the first time, please subscribe. Check out my other content. And I'm glad you guys are here for the support. I'm glad you're here, our listeners, and I appreciate it. And I strive to make sure I provide the best content. All right. So what am I doing this video right now? So my attempted video is to reply to two videos. One primarily my boy BSHadows behind gaming. I'll post his link on the channel so you could check him out. And also Kmega. A little small reply to him. All right. But the theme I want everybody to understand is not so much about the consoles or companies. It's what we do as content creators. All right. I want you to understand that point. This is what the discussion is about. It's the type of information of how we present it to each and every one of you. All right. How we present information to each and every one of you is going to be utilized in the right way or in the wrong way. All right. We'll start out with the fanboys first. For the fanboys, it's easy. They're going to use whatever information content creators say to go back online in comments or on Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media platform they prefer to talk shit. That is how they misuse information. All right. And as content creators, we shouldn't cater to that. But it happens. It is what it is. Even if we don't cater to it, they're going to use it anyway. All right. And then you have the people who are not fanboys, but gaming enthusiasts. People who are fan that this is our hobby and they want to take it a step beyond than just simply putting a game or booting up a game on a platform. They want to learn about the industry. They want to learn about how games do. They want to see the future prospect of game development. They want to check, if a franchise has the ability to be a sequel. They want to see their favorite developers do good. And they want to know how their favorite developers are doing good. They want to know how good their platform is, how many people are playing it. Because these informations can potentially lead to better services, but more importantly, to more games on your preferred platform. That's why I started tracking the industry, going back into the mid-90s with the PlayStation 1 and N64. Because before that, during the Genesis, Super Nintendo era, I did not understand why things I thought were awesome was failing. Like the Sega CD, I thought it was awesome at the time. The Bazooka from the Super NES, TurboGrafx 16. There was a whole bunch of stuff I thought were great. 32X, amazing graphics. And I didn't have to buy a whole new console to do it. But it was a failure. And I didn't understand why. So I went beyond just simply looking at pictures of video games and stuff. I started reading about the industry and I started learning about profit. I started learning about MPD. I started learning about market share. And then it made sense because if something's not being sold or whatever, then it's not going to be supported. That's just the reality. And as a consumer, you don't want to buy something when you know it's not selling, which means it's not going to get the support, which means you just wasted your money. You know what I mean? And there's many of us in the comment section. What's up, everybody? Trey BK, who's next? D, Hunter Gaming, Kenny, more. You know what I'm saying? And I know everybody wants to talk about games and people don't like sales. You know what I'm saying? I understand some of you don't like it. All right. And if you don't like it or find it important, that is cool. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you find yourself asking, damn, what happened to this franchise? If you ever asked yourself, damn, how come this game's not coming to my platform? If you ever ask those questions, chances are it's because of sales. It's either because of market share. It's because something financial. It was a financial decision. You understand what I'm saying? So I want you all to understand, please understand that this is about how content creators provide information. All right. And this is the reason why I'm replying to BSHadows and Kmega, you know, because it's about how we give you guys information, how we interpret the industry, how we interpret how things going. You know, for the fanboys, they're going to use it as ammunition. But for you who are interested in your hobby, you want to make sure you get the right information, because you don't want to listen to a content creator and then they say something, right? And you think this is how it is. And then when you go on Twitter or another media platform, or maybe a gaming group that you're part of, and you bring up those points thinking that's how it is, and those gamers look at you like, what are you talking about, bro? Yo, bro, are you a fanboy and whatever? Let me ask you something. Have you ever been called a fanboy and you know you're not, but for some reason a whole bunch of people are calling you fanboys, and you're like, what the fuck, man? And all you're doing is using information that you saw from a content creator. You know, maybe it was a big content creator, a popular one. And you're thinking, damn, what he said is true. It makes sense. You know, I'm seeing the links, I'm seeing whatever evidence they're providing. You're thinking, okay, I see how it is. And then when you try to use it, a whole bunch of people are like, oh, that's a fanboy, whatever, whatever. And then they provide you counterpoints. And now you're like, what the fuck? You're like confusing shit. Like, damn, I'm not a fanboy. What did I say something fanboyish? It's because you probably got misled by the interpretation of a content creator. And we need to do better than that. You understand what I'm saying? No disrespect. This is not disrespect. You know, I hope my boys, BSHadows and Kmega, if they even bother to listen to video, that they do listen to it and they just sit down and listen to see where I'm coming from. All right? So I'm going to start off with BSHadows. I want you to listen to what he says, and then I'm going to bring up how it was misleading or whatever. Okay? So V2, so for V2099, again, so we're talking about, well, anyway, just follow along. I mean, you could, if you guys just showed up, please watch the beginning so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen. Right. Let me go to the sharing screen. Okay. Screen share. All right. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Everybody should be seeing my screen. All right, go back here. So everybody should be seeing BSHadows. Now, excuse me if I'm not in the comment box, okay? But everybody should be seeing this right now. This is BSHadows Gaming Rebirth. This is recent video. It's called Sony Hates Their Fanbase 6. Fanboys in Denial live stream, okay? Now, I will say a couple of things. Everyone should do a better job of not attacking people for a comment or, you know, or just a discussion. If it's not personal, we all need to do a better job, okay? All right? So I'm going to play his video, and we should all listen to it. I want you to listen. So the first thing we're going to hear from BSHadows, he's going to talk about how he read a Twitter post from me, right? He's going to talk about Twitter post from me and how he replied to it. The problem is he completely switched up the situation. All right? Does that make sense? All right? So I'm going to take it slow. I'm going to walk the dog with everyone. All right? But I'm going to play this video. I want you to listen. He is talking about a Twitter post that I made, which eventually blew up into a little fanboy battle between other people and whatever. But I want you to listen to what he says, okay? Here we go.
I'm trying to put it up here now. It's crazy though, man. The PlayStation fanboys have been so out of hand, and they've been so disrespectful, man. Like, I made a comment earlier on Porter Rock's actual thing or whatever. He made a comment earlier. He was showing out the sales numbers of what. Actually, I think it was like a release thing of every PlayStation exclusive that's been released this year and stuff like that. Let me have a second.
Now, you heard him, right? Did everybody hear him? I want to make sure everybody's hearing him. Everybody heard him? Let me know if you actually hear, because I hope I'm doing it right. Just make a yes. Just let me know if you actually heard, if you could hear BSHadows. I paused it right now. But if somebody could make a comment, let me know they're actually hearing them. Is anybody hearing them? Anybody? Just anybody type. Okay, cool. All right. So you heard him that I was discussing sales on my Twitter. Okay. Pay attention to that. I'm going to let him finish talking. But remember what he said. He said that I was discussing sales on a Twitter post. It's important that you guys remember that. Back with another video. I'm sorry, not that one. All right. We're going to continue on.
I'm going to put the comment section up here so you guys
can let them talk.
I'll be able to see it. Oh shit, I guess I got to reinstall the comment section for YouTube. I took it off. Basically, I got a new hard drive, so I guess I didn't really take it off. I just don't have it. So give me a second to reinstall YouTube's chat viewer. But yeah, man, they then I got attacked by every Sony fanboy. Y'all like to call them Sony ponies or whatever. I got attacked by every Sony fanboy known to man. And they were showing these games that it got released once a year. They had like Knack and a whole bunch of other bullshit. And I was just like, and I made a comment about it. And I was just like, well, one of the games he named was Infamous. And I was like, well, first of all.
Now you saw what he said. One of the games I named was Infamous. All right. We're going to follow along. It's only about another minute. And then I'm gonna wrap this around with my point. Okay. So please bear with me, but I need you to listen to his point. Thank you very much.
Infamous didn't sell that well. And PlayStation gamers did not support Infamous. A lot of them said it was dog shit, it was trash, and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, how can you say something is garbage if you don't like it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how can you say something so well, or you want to brag about some sales of a game that you didn't even fucking support? And I'm like, and half the guys that was bragging about it don't even have the fucking game. Hold on, I gotta approve the chat box. 42. I gotta approve the chat box just for the chat box to show up. If you guys are watching, be sure to post your comments and stuff like that. Let me know who's all here. There's a chat box now. It finally popped up. But they were boasting and bragging about these sales and these games that, they're basically saying, Xbox is not releasing anything, blah, blah, blah. And, and Sony has a game every month or some shit. And I'm like, really, bro? I'm like, these dudes are seriously bragging about games that they don't even have. They don't even support. Yet you want to brag about it?
All right. So everybody heard that, right? Okay, everybody heard that, right? Everybody heard what he was saying. He's talking about how my tweet was bragging about sales and that I use Infamous. I want to make sure does everybody understand that? I don't want to treat you all like children, but I want this conversation slow. I want you guys to be with me. I want you to follow and walk the dog with me. So everybody pretty much heard what he said, right? Just give me a yes or no. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Cool. And I'm not trying to treat you like children. You understand what I'm saying? But I want to make sure we all on the same page. So he said he retweeted. He saw a tweet from me, Porter Rock, bragging about sales or whatever. I am going to show you guys the tweet. All right? You're about to see the tweet right now. This is my tweet. All right? And most of you probably already saw this on Twitter. This tweet is about this picture that Xbox Milgraw, whatever, fanboy Xbox site posted. And the point of this picture is pretty much, how PlayStation gamers are flip-flopping. In 2013, 2014, 1080p. So we all get the point. My point was, this picture pretty much now downs the haters, right? Because look at the games they put as if these were the biggest games of that year. I mean, for fuck's sakes, look at 2016. You really going to put No Man's Sky when Uncharted 4 was not only the biggest game on PlayStation, but one of the biggest games of 2016, period. Am I wrong here with this picture? Now look at, and I'm not blaming BSHadows on this picture. I'm not, this is what started his thing, all right? I just want you to, guys. So my point of this picture is, and I'm looking at my reply, this pic pretty much nails down the haters, as if Infamous, Uncharted 4, Ratchet, Major League Baseball, Bloodborne, Street Fighter 5, and more don't count. All those other games I mentioned don't count. It's only these games. And that's the reason why we hype 1080p, because this is the only thing we had to play. You understand what I'm saying? That was my thing. Okay? We all following, right? We're all tracking. Okay? Now I'm about to show you BSHadows reply, and he was the first person to reply to this tweet. Are you ready for this? His reply, PS4 gamers didn't buy Infamous. He brought up sales. So why is he blaming me for talking about game sales? He started this shit. Am I bugging out? Why is he blaming me on his video? Why is he saying that I was bragging out about sales? Does this comment sound like I'm bragging about sales? I'm talking about just playing good games. Infamous is a good game, right? UC4 is a good game. Ratchet, MOB, Bloodborne, Street Fighter, even Street Fighter 5 is the most played fighter out right now. With all the mistakes and stuff. These are good games. That's all I said. Do you see me saying anything about sales? All I did was just bullshit. All I did was call out the fanboy of this poster, of this little pick, who picked the worst games and disrespect. Well, I ain't gonna say disrespected, but ignore anything else. As if 2015, we weren't talking about Bloodborne. 2016, we weren't talking about UC4, Ratchet and Clank MLB. Come on, bro. His first comment is sales. And you're going to see as we go along with his video, he's going to continue to talk about sales. He started that. PS4 gamers didn't buy Infamous. UC4, great. Ratchet barely sold. Another sales. MLB, same every year. As if that's a bad thing. Like 2K Sports. It's a sports game. Like, what else are you going to do? But it's the best baseball game out on the market. It's a system seller. Hell, people with Xbox went out and bought a PlayStation just for that one game. Bloodborne, overrated. Are you serious? Street Fighter 5 was shit on a biscuit. Hashtag facts. Ladies and gentlemen, am I bugging out? Am I wrong? Do I need to shut down my channel? He started the sales thing. I didn't start it. And you know what's funny is he talks about how we keep bragging about sales, and the first thing that came out of his mouth to downplay Infamous was sales. And then he just goes on that rant. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to fast forward to the next point on his video. And it's around 11-minute 8 mark. Because, he talks about PC stuff. He talks about in between. It's a regular stream. But let me go to around 11-minute 8 mark. And I want you to pay attention to this. I'm going to start 11:06. He's going to talk about percentages. Okay? Okay? Now listen to this. Get ready.
Yeah, he had NAC listed. I'm like, NAC, nigga? Really? I'm like, he had NAC. He bragged about Bloodborne. And they were bragging about, they sold XYZ millions. One game, I think the top selling game was at 3.5 million. And I'm like, you do realize that you bragging about 3.5 million out of 6 million consoles. How the fuck is that something to brag about? They got 65 million consoles, but you sold 3 million games. That's not even 5%.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Did you hear that? Why are we bragging about games that aren't even 5% of the install base? That's a new trend I noticed, especially among, I don't know how you call it, Microsoft supporters or whoever, or people who generally want to knock a PlayStation game success. I'll just say that. Not even 5%, right? This is what I'm talking about. Look at the title of my video. We are failing to listen and we are failing to learn. All right. Now let's put that 5% to the test. So apparently 5% ain't shit, right? Let me ask you everyone a question. What's 5% of 150 million? Does anybody know? 5% of 150 million. I'm doing a calculator right now. Right? 150 million, right? Times 0.05 is 7.5 million. Now, why am I bringing up 150 million? What relevance does that number have? The relevance of that number is that is the console sales of the PlayStation 2. Now I want to show you the best-selling games on PlayStation 2. All right. Now, 5% of 150 million is 7.5 million sales. And I'm going to show you how many great successful games did not sell that much. Right here. It's a list of best-selling PlayStation 2 games. We got Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, 17 million. So obviously more than 5%. Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, 14 million. Gran Turismo 4. Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto. So in reality, there's only 3 games that are double-digit millions. Gran Turismo and a Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto 3, 7.9 million. And now we have now broke below 7.5 million. So the remaining games that you're about to see did not even sell 5% of the fan base or the console sell base. Metal Gear Solid 2, 7 million, less than 5%. Final Fantasy X, less than 5%. Tekken 5, 6 million, less than 5%. Final Fantasy 12, 5.2 million shipped, less than 5%. Kingdom Hearts, 4.78 million, 5.8 million concluding this other version. Whichever how you want to look at it, less than 5%. God of War, 4.62. Now, to show you this number is validated, I want you to look at this right here. Oh, shit, why is this spinning? I already had it pulled up. This is official numbers from PlayStation. God of War 2, 4.2 million. You understand what I'm saying? And this this is God of War 1. God of War 1 is 4.6. And right over here, God of War. Why is this thing spinning? It's already saved. Like, come on, bro. I cut it out. Do I have to stop it? Ugh, I'm going to have to refresh it. Let me refresh it. I don't know why this page is acting up. Okay, here we go. Oh, my goodness. Come on. Help me out. Okay, here we go. So here you go. God of War, 4.6 million worldwide. So, Wikipedia is accurate. That's less than 5%. Let me go back to the best sellings. Dragon Quest 8, 4.4 million. Madden 2005, less than 5%. God of War 2, 4.2 million. Again, you can see here 4.2 million. You see that? Going back to the list. Jack and Daxter, 4.2 million. Final Fantasy X2, 4 million. iToy, 4 million. Another Madden, 3.9 million. Kingdom Hearts 2, 3.8 million. Ratchet and Clank, 3.7. Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, 3.7 million. Less than 5%. Guitar Hero 2, 3.4 million. Less than 5%. Ratchet and Clank, 3.2, less than 5%. All these games. Great selling, successful games. SOCOM, U.S. Navy SEALs, 2.7 million. Less than 5%. Basically, these are all failures, according to BSHadows. These games were not supported. Resident Evil 4, 2.3 million. Failure, according to BSHadows. Devil May Cry, 2 million, 2.1. Max Payne, 2.1. These are all games that sold less than 5%. Battlefront, 1.9 million. NBA Live, 1.9. Tekken 4, 1.9. Come on, look at all these games that were successful, that made money. And they did not break 5% of the total console sales. 150 million. Am I bugging out? Am I crazy? Am I seeing the wrong information? That's just crazy. So now they're using this arbitrary percentage of sales within the user base to define a success of a game, and gaming was never like that. Listen, a successful game is not based on ratios. It is based on the selling mark. In most games, especially back then, was mostly 1 million. I would say now 1.5 to 2 million is what they need to be successful, to be a profitable game and continue game development. Not 15, 20 million. Who the fuck plans for a game to sell 20 million? Every gaming company will fail. Most games are successful around 1.5 to 2 million. Only companies like Rockstar with Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto, or Activision with Call of Duty and Destiny. Those are the few people that have the balls to expect 10 million or more sales. Very few people. Microsoft can't even hold that standard to Halo anymore. Microsoft cannot make a Halo game expecting 10 million sales. Blandrew, you are right. He is trying to use attach rate to prove a point. Attach rate equals success, which is bullshit. It does not equal success. Sales of the individual game equals success. Look at Infamous. He says we didn't support it. The game sold over 3 million, which generally is what Infamous does since it came out. And Sucker Punch, the makers of Infamous Second Son, they're developing a new IP. That's how you know that the product is successful. When the developers keep making games, especially new IPs. So now Sucker Punch has Infamous in their toolbox, and they're about to have a new IP under their toolbox. Look at Killzone. Killzone generally only sells around 2 to 3 million. I think Killzone 2 sold the most at 4, but generally 1 to 2 million. And they have a new IP, Horizon Zero Dawn. And it's not even a first-person shooter. It was a third-person RPG, a third-person action RPG. It took 5 years to develop. That means Guerrilla made money without having to sell 15 million units. It's not about attach ratio. Killzone didn't have a huge attach ratio. Hell, Killzone maybe sold 3 million on the PS2 and like 2 million or maybe 4 million on the PS3. It doesn't have a high attach ratio, but they made profit because they developed the games smartly, intelligently. And because you made profit, you can make more games. Guerrilla made a new IP, a big new IP. And Sucker Punch, supposedly is going to be unveiled at E3, is unveiling a new IP. That means the company has been supported. They made money. So it's crazy for him to say 5%. So we're going to move on to the next one. All right. I'm going to take you to 1350. Let me go to 1350. Just about. We'll go. No, let me go. Let me go because I don't want. There you go. We'll start right here and then we'll listen. Now listen to this.
It was contradicting it. But motherfuckers gonna sit here and brag about these sales, and I'm like, this all Sony guys can do is brag about these same sales of these same fucking games over and over again. You do realize that Sony is still going broke at the end of the day, yet you still brag like they making millions. I'm like, dude, they're legitimately going broke. And these motherfuckers are still bragging about these same numbers, same titles, same everything. And I'm like, that is literally nothing to brag about. And I was trying to explain to you guys, like, the other fanboys came in the room, they start bragging, they start talking about, well, Record sold this and Record did this. I'm like, Record, bitch, really? I'm like, we talking about PlayStation. Why every time somebody says something about an Xbox, a PlayStation, they want to bring up the Xbox sales? We're not dumb to the fact that
I'm gonna stop right there real quick. Notice how he's blaming. Now I understand there's fanboys, and Twitter. Once you say some crazy stuff, the fanboys are gonna come at you. But you did it to yourself. Because again, let's look at my tweet that you replied to. I did not mention sales. I was addressing this pick on how the haters ignore our games. And the reason why I told this, I was talking to Tim Dog. And you know what's funny? I had a good conversation with Tim Dog. You would think it would be the opposite. But Tim Dog had a good conversation. I just mentioned to Tim Dog that over the last 3 years, Xbox community tried to make it about games. And saying, a lot of PS4 fanboys talked about 1080p. But what some people don't understand is, how can we have a conversation about games if you kept shitting on our games? This pic right here is a physical visual representation of fanboys shitting on our games. So how can we have a competition of our games if it was only going to be on one-way conversation? Xbox have talked about games. They only cared about PlayStation games. They didn't want to. I mean, they only talked about Xbox games. Every game PlayStation came out with sucked. So they made it seem like we had nothing to play and we had no good games. And you see this picture. This picture is a visual representation of that. They didn't even have the decency to put Uncharted 4 there in 2016. One of the best games, period, on any platform that year. You see what I'm saying? How many times did we get, listen, let me show you something. I'm going to do a search, but while I'm doing a search, how many times did the PlayStation fans get shitted on because of Rocket League? Soccer cars. Remember that? You understand? That's Xbox gamers. They made that, whatchamacallit. They made that little nickname. Oh, you're playing soccer cars? Yeah, of course you're playing soccer cars because it's the indie station. You have no good games. Remember that? Am I bugging out, my viewers? And listen, if you're an Xbox dude, I am not. I don't have a lot of tabs, but you know, in fact, I could close some of these tabs. I could close this one, and I could close this one. All right, I need to leave the other ones. Okay, all right. Thank you for mentioning that. But now, I understand whatchamacallit. You know, damn, I lost my track. Okay, yeah, with soccer cars. Listen, I know some of you are Xbox fans. I'm not trying to shit on you. This is about BSHadows or even content creators providing misinformation, which leads to you guys getting misinformation, which doesn't help you when you guys want to talk about the industry and our hobby. All right. I just had to bring that book. All right. But again, how many times did we get shitted on with Rocket League? You understand what I'm saying? People thought that the reason why PlayStation 4, because it wasn't on Xbox for about a year, but people thought that we were playing Rocket League because we had nothing else to play. It's the indie station. We didn't have real games. Well, now look at this. This is the most played games on Xbox Live. Microsoft.com, most played games, Xbox. The number one play game is NBA 2K, and it goes down the line. Grand Theft Auto. And these games are similar, but look at what's number 10. Rocket League. It's the 10th most played games on Xbox. Notice what's not in the top 10. You don't see Halo. You don't see Forza. You don't see Gears. In fact, this is 5. We're at 10. We're at 15. So the top 15, still no first party. There you go. Forza Horizon 3 is at 18. And Halo 5 is at 20. 2 first party IPs multiplayer in the top 20. And they're on the bottom. More people are playing Rocket League than they are playing Forza Horizon and Halo 5. Now, again, I am not taking a jab at your exclusives. Please, if you're an Xbox fan, I hope that's not the message. I don't want you to be insulted. I'm not trying to do that. All right? Okay? What I'm trying to say is this. All right? That Rocket League was a fun game, and Xbox community are having fun with it. You guys are enjoying that game. You understand what I'm saying? You're enjoying that game. You're loving it. You know what I'm saying? Okay? You're loving those games, and Xbox deserve it. It's fun. Now you see how fun that game was, but we were shitted on that. You know what I mean? So let's continue on real quick. All right? Let's see where we go at. Let's see what else he says.
We're not dumb to the fact that, you know, Xbox exclusive not selling either. Why do you think they trying to strand away from them a little bit? I mean, we're not dumb to that. And these guys are, but they're not selling XYZ amount of dollars either. And da 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 da. I'm like, I don't get that shit. Why?
Well, okay, so we moved on. So let me move on to something else. Now, he did make a great point about something. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, I'm going to give props where props is due. This is a great point he brought up.
Read this with you guys. And I want you to be very aware of what I am reading to you.
This is a great point.
Say GameStop and all this pop-ups.
Okay.
All right. So
he talks about, I mean, he talks about how Sony damage control, backwards compatibility, and they're not providing that service. And I agree with him there. I do agree with him there. He made a good point about backwards compatibility. Sony recently came out with an article saying that gamers don't want it, even though it's highly requested, which is a weird stance. So I agree with him there. This is good information. This is actually what he did here is a good example of getting proper information, reading the proper information, and telling your subscribers, your followers, what's the deal. This is actually a good critique. It makes sense. You can see from the Xbox One platform, backwards compatibility has been popular. It most likely would be popular on the PlayStation 4. So he made a good critique. This, what he did in this segment, is something that he needs to look at what he did. And that right there is providing the correct information. Now, I'm going to fast forward to this. Now, this is where it gets real crazy. This is where it gets real crazy, okay?
This is Sony's net worth as of
right now he's talking the net worth of the companies. This is crazy.
Today, I brought this up in one of my previous videos, but a lot of you fanboys continue to overlook this fact here. A lot of you guys, y'all continue to overlook this fact here. Okay, Sony is now a $40 billion company. Last year, Sony was a 42.8, 44, 45. It was a $45 billion company. So overall, Sony sold $69.25 billion in 2016 to 2017. But they're still only worth $40.4 billion. Meaning, yes, fanboys. Yes, fanboys. Listen to what I'm saying. Fanboys. Yes, fanboys. The PlayStation sold 65 fucking million PlayStations. They didn't profit off none of them. Yes, fanboys. They sold 3.5, 2.745 fucking exclusives. Yes, fanboys. They made no money off any of it. You get what I'm saying?
Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? Sony made no money off that. And he's talking about the entire company, which includes other things not involving gaming. I want to show you an article. This is an update from Sony. All right. Right here, update. Look at the date. April 2017, April 28th. About 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. Update. Sony sees profit nearing 20-year-old record with 73% jump this year. A 23-year-old record. Sony said on Friday expects annual operating profit to surge 73%, closing in on a 2-decade-old record as its cash cow image sensor business recovers. And this is about the image. And I don't really care about image. Listen, people, I don't care how many toasters Sony sell. I only care about PlayStation. You understand what I'm saying? But since he wanted to talk about the company and making no money, then how the hell did they break a 20-year-old record that they set? Let me show you where the record was set originally. The record was set, and I was reading it. Where is it at? Here, right here. If achieved, profit would be at its highest since peaking at $525.7 billion in the year through March 1998, when strong consumer electronic sales combined with the popularity of the first PlayStation console and the box office hit Men in Black. They're about to break 1998 when the PlayStation launched. And when it launched in 95, when the PlayStation was super popular, killing the industry. This was when Sony as a whole was in their A game. Now, I'm not saying right now they're killing Microsoft or anything, but these guys are regurgitating the same old information from like 3 years ago. All that trouble Sony had was like 2-3 years ago, and Kaz Hirai came in to fix this. He was in charge of the PlayStation division. They promoted him to the top level to fix Sony's roles. And here's the thing. This is what I want you guys to learn. Phil Spencer, right? He got the job to unfuck the Xbox division, to make it better, to unscrew everything Downmetric did. And the Xbox Nation completely, you know, people understand, everybody should understand it's going to take time for him to get Xbox right on track to make sure it's the top of the line. You know what I'm saying? To go back to the 360 glories as best as possible. We know Phil Spencer needs time. Now, that's only the Xbox division. Imagine Kaz Hirai, who has to do that same mentality for the entire Sony company. Every division, every product, he has to unfuck. That's going to take much longer, and it's working. He saw the things Sony did wrong. He saw the shit that wasn't selling. He saw the stuff that was no more, that Sony did not lead. So he got rid of it. All the buildings that they sold, people were like, oh, they sold it because they needed money. They sold it because those buildings was associated to the products they weren't doing no more. So if you're not selling computers and laptops, why do you need the offices and buildings where all the people worked in to make, advertise, and do whatever for laptops and computers? You don't need those facilities no more. He kept what he felt was going to be strong divisions in Sony. He got rid of the divisions that he felt Sony wouldn't be able to compete. That's it. And it's working. It's a long-term plan, but it's working. All right. But besides all that, who gives a shit about a fucking camera that Sony sells? That has nothing to do with gaming. I have Samsung washer and dryer. I have a Vizio TV or Sharp TV, 2 Sharp TVs. The only Sony products I have in this house is the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and the peripherals, like the controllers and the headset. That's it. I don't care if Sony could sell a damn dishwasher or not. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't do anything for gamers. I'm going to continue on. Let's continue on and listen to him.
They were worth $8 billion more last year than they are now. So yes, they sold all these motherfucking systems and all these motherfucking games, you fanboys. But they're not turning a profit.
Not turning a profit.
Look at this. It tells you right here in bold print. Yes, they sold 96%. They're number 96 in sales. They are fucking selling some systems. Yay, motherfuckers. But notice there's something missing from this list. You see where it says 49 global. That's worldwide. They number 73 worldwide. There's something missing from this list. Somewhere in this area right here, there's supposed to be a thing that says how much they profited.
Or if you actually did care, you could have read this article. It came out in April. Right here. We need to listen. We need to be better readers. We need to be better at learning if we're going to preach, advise, teach, talk about our hobby. Because if we don't provide the right information, if we don't do right by you subscribers, what are you guys listening to? What are you guys going to learn?
That's what it's supposed to say. It's supposed to say how much money did they profit.
This way.
Notice there's no profits. Yes, they sold. They sold some motherfucking systems. They sold some motherfucking exclusive games.
We almost got him.
But
now, what you're about to hear blows my mind, people. This is going to be insane what he's about to say. This right here, I don't get it. I don't know why he said this. But around the 27 mark, this is going to blow my mind. And this is so wrong because all of you guys deserve better. You deserve better. All right?
there's no profits. You know why? Because the games in there just
listen, all right? Listen to what he's about to say. This is completely misinforming gamers. Completely. All right? I want you to really pay attention to what he said here.
that did sell millions and millions on the amount that the console they hold are fucking third parties. Ubisoft, Activision, all the other companies made that money. Naughty Dog, they made that money.
Joe.
So you keep saying Sony. Sony don't make those games. They didn't make Ratchet and Clank. They're not even making the new Spider-Man. They're not making the new God of War. That's not their shit. That's somebody else's. They're making that money.
This is insane, people. Yo, this is basic gaming industry 101, and he got it completely wrong. Completely wrong. Oh my God. He said Sony did not make money off these games because somebody else developed them. That these are Activision games. That these are EA games. Naughty Dog games. Naughty Dog's not even third party. They are owned by Sony. Let's start off with third party, because third party is easy. Yes, let's take Call of Duty. Yes, Call of Duty is made by Activision, right? Or published by Activision, made by whatever developer is making it at that time, whether it's Sledgehammer, Treyarch, whoever else, right? Infinity Ward. Those are the developers. So the developers are Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Activision is the publisher, right? But Sony gets royalties off those sales. You can't put a game on PlayStation and Sony doesn't get a cut. In fact, that is the main reason why Microsoft and Sony make consoles, because they want the third-party money. That's where they make most of the money from. It's from third party. It is royalties. Sony doesn't want you to buy Call of Duty on Xbox. They want you to buy it on PlayStation because they get a check. It's royalties. This is gaming. I knew this. I swear to God, I knew this during the Genesis era, bro. And I was a teenager and I knew how the fucking game went. Fucking Genesis, I knew this shit. Before the internet. I'm an old dude. We didn't have internet. We had beepers and shit. We had to go to the library. I had to buy magazines and read editorials. And I knew that the platform owners make royalties. How the hell did he mess this up? BSHadows, bro, if you're listening, bro, come on, man. My brother, man, come on, stop. Like, for real, did you listen to yourself? You said Sony don't make money? Sony is a gaming publisher. That is one of their divisions. They publish games and they make deals with other companies. People want me to play again. You want me to play again? All right, I'll go back. It was around 2027. Yo, listen to me. For people who just joined, yo, this is crazy. Listen to this.
That did sell millions and millions on the amount that the console they hold are fucking third parties. Ubisoft, Activision, all them other companies made that money. Naughty Dog, they made that money.
Sure.
So you keep saying Sony. Sony don't make those games. They didn't make Ratchet and Clank. They're not even making the new Spider-Man. They're not making the new God of War. That's not their shit. That's somebody else's. They're making that money. If you
listen to what he said, God of War doesn't belong to Sony. Oh my God, listen, bro. BSHadows, what is going on, bro? Listen, if you need to hit me up on the DM. What's going on, bro? You are better than this. God of War and Ratchet is not their shit. Sony owns those IPs and they pay developers. Let's talk about Spider-Man, because you even mentioned that. It was Sony that got the exclusive rights to make Spider-Man games. And they chose Insomniac, and they paid Insomniac to make the game. So Insomniac makes their money from the funding Sony gives them. They give them the money up front to develop the game, the salary, whatever the developer is charging is pretty much a contract. Here you go. How much you're going to need to make the game? Well, we're going to need X amount of money. That X amount of money goes towards the game itself and stuff, the programming, whatever, but also the salary of the actual people that work and whatever else they need, mocap studios and, whatever, all the stuff they need to make the game. That's what the contract goes. And sometimes the developer runs out and they need more money and the publisher gives them more money, whatever. That's how it goes. Once the game is done and is being sold, all that money goes to the publisher. That's how it works. You give the money to the developer. You pay the developers. They make their money. They use the money for as whatever they want to do while paying their salaries, you know. And then when the game is sold, all that money, the distribution, of course, Sony has to pay for distribution and shipping and all that stuff, but all the profit, it goes back to the publisher. Look at Activision. Activision Corp don't make games. They're developers that belong to Activision make games. Sledgehammer makes games. Treyarch makes games. Infinity Ward makes games. Bungie, not even owned by Activision. They just have a contract. Bungie makes games. Activision fronts the money. Big money. But when the game sells, Activision enjoys the profits. This is basic 101 stuff, BSHadows. You got to do better. I understand you have a lot of criticism on PlayStation, on Sony. And you know what? You have the right to criticize them. If you don't like their practices, you don't like their services, you don't like the things they're doing, by all means, do the right thing and criticize. Make those videos. Do them. I'm not trying to shut you down, but you got to have the right criticism. You don't basically even know how a publisher makes money. That is a problem. How can you teach me geometry when you can't even do 5 times 5? And I'm not trying to literally say you don't know 5 times 5. I'm trying to show you an example. You can't teach me how to write an essay if you don't know what a verb and a noun is. You understand what I'm saying? You have to, don't let these fanboys get to the best of you, man. Be better. Ignore them. Like my channel, I'm not doing shit for the fanboys. I'm doing shit for the enthusiasts, for the hobbyists, for the people that love our industry and want to learn shit. I'm not going to cater to people who piss me off. If I were to make a video and talk about for every dude that pissed me off and talk shit, my channel will be fucking looking like crack gamers right now. But I don't do that because they're not worth it. Those dudes are not worth it. Ignore the ponies, the PlayStation fanboys. Don't go down to their level. Rise above and focus on the PlayStation fans. Even if it's only 2 that you know, then focus on those 2. Focus on those 2 guys. Do right by them. But to say that Sony don't make money off games when that's the main revenue source is third party. That is the main revenue for Xbox as well, is third party. They want those games to sell because there's a shitload of third party games. And they get a royalty out of that. That is crazy, BSHadows. What is wrong? What is up, man? That's insane, bro.
You look right here, Sony made no profits. Yes, they sold 65 million. Blah, 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 blah. That's why I keep telling you, motherfucker, when you keep talking about these fucking sales, you keep trying to brag about these sales like, oh man, it's just the greatest thing ever. No, because they're still not profiting.
That's crazy. Not profit.
They're losing shitloads of money. They losing $69.24 billion last year. They only worth $40 billion.
Come on.
Somewhere down there, they lost $29 billion somewhere.
Come on, man.
They lost it. You know, and it just shocks me.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna skip ahead. I'm gonna skip ahead to where he starts talking about, I think, Microsoft. Here we go. There we go. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. I think this is the right spot. No, where's the right spot? Okay, here we go.
Microsoft made $85.7 million. But
is it me? Oh man. People say, is it my RAM? Oh snap. Am I freezing? What's going on here? I need to add more to this. Okay.
$507.5 billion. They're almost shit, if not just beyond. They can buy fucking Sony. But look at the key element here. They're the number 3.
Explain it to them.
Let's put them side by side. It's just unfair to compare them like this.
Let's go find fire.
Let's.
You see what he's doing? He's comparing 2 corporations that do more than just gaming. You know what I'm saying? Completely more. He's comparing 2 companies, all right? And I'm going to talk about that, all right?
Put them side by side.
He's going to put them side by side.
Do it the fair way. Let's do it the fair way. So I'm going to open up a window here. And
why are you here?
I'll open up the Sony window here. So let's put them side by side.
Okay.
You're looking so hot.
And put them together. if it lets
Where's
me.
Robert?
Why are you zooming in? Fuck back. So let's put them side by side. So yes, Sony's still worth 73. They 70.
Let me see. Where did I go?
They
No,
rank in the world. Microsoft is ranked number 3 in the world, most valuable company. Sony sold all this money, made no profits. Microsoft made they're number 12 in profits. Number 12 in profits in the world. That's global numbers. This is not United States. This is everybody want to say Sony is beating Microsoft in the United States with Xboxes and PlayStation. So fucking what? Globally, Microsoft is kicking their teeth fucking in. So it's not like
I don't know you got them.
What Microsoft does not affect Sony. What Sony does not affect Microsoft. From a standpoint, Sony needs to step up and admit they need to give their fans what they want.
I gotta move.
Now look at this. He compared the whole company versus two companies. He's not doing gaming to gaming. He's doing company to company. And my question is why? You understand what I'm saying? Because Microsoft does a lot more than Xbox. And I'm going to show you this graph of the 2016 revenue. All right. Look at this. This is how much money they made. You know what I'm saying? Revenue, 85 billion that year. And he mentioned it. Microsoft Office, 28% of the revenue is from Microsoft Office. Windows and Azure Server is 22%. And other, probably peripherals and other stuff, whatever segment of Microsoft is 18%. Okay? That's pretty much 68% of Microsoft. Right? Now, Xbox, they're doing their thing. They got 11%. In fact, they're a little higher than Windows. But keep in mind, Windows 10 was offered for free the first year. So the majority of the people that own Windows 10 got it for free. It wasn't sold. Now it's being sold over like the last year and a half or so. And because of those sales, it attributed to 9% of the sales in 2016 revenue. But keep in mind, majority of the people already had Windows because it was free. It was a free update. So when you look at, and I'm going to show you a thing, when you look at $500 billion Microsoft, that the majority has nothing to do with gaming. The majority has to do with other stuff. Has to deal with Microsoft Office, Excel spreadsheets, Microsoft Word, Azure servers. Remember when Phil Spencer said, if Sony wants to use Azure, they have no problems, Microsoft has no problems letting them use it? It's because Azure servers is more important than Xbox. So whoever runs the Azure server division, they're not going to lose out on money because of Xbox. That ain't happening. They make too much money on Microsoft Azure servers. So if Sony wants to use those servers, you damn right Microsoft's going to let them use it. The Xbox division is not going to control the Azure division. That ain't happening. I want you to listen to this too. All right. Something's going to blow your mind right now. All right. Around, in fact, it's coming around 3110. So let me go to just around here.
And consoles and dumb shit like that. If they're not going to turn a profit, all that money they making on PlayStation is trying to keep everything else in this company going. So that's why they're not putting any money towards first party exclusives.
Did you hear that? I'm going to put that again. That's why they're not putting any money towards first party exclusives. I need you to hear that again.
Trying to keep everything else in this company going. So that's why they're not putting any money towards first party exclusives. That's why.
What was it?
Needs to step, trying to keep everything else in this company going. So that's why they're not putting any money towards first party exclusives. Trying to keep everything else in this company going. So that's why they're not putting any money towards first party exclusives. Trying to keep everything else in this company going. So that's why they're not putting any money towards first party exclusives.
Not putting any money into first party exclusives. That is why he's telling his subscribers. That's why he's telling all of you. He's telling you guys that Sony is not putting money on first party exclusives. I'm going to use, you see this right here, Microsoft Word. Their bread and butter, right? This is games that is confirmed to either be developed or being paid by Microsoft. You know, Microsoft has something to do with it. Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3. And notice I'm using Microsoft Word, their bread and butter of the company. One of the main revenue sources of their $500 billion franchise. Sea of Thieves, Crackdown, Forza 7, State of Decay 2, We Happy Few, and Cuphead. That's what we know is confirmed in development. And if I was to act like a fanboy and say, well, indie games don't count, it will only be these 4 games that we know of that Microsoft's making. Confirmed. This is the confirmed games. Right here. Sea of Thieves, Crackdown, Forza 7, State of Decay 2. And I am not going to say, oh, these games are shit. Hey, they could be great games, but they're only 4. But I'm not a fanboy. I recognize indie games, arts games also, and they could be fun. Hell, some could be better than AAA games just simply because of the fun factor. You know, or some people could be playing indie games more than AAA games because of fun factor. Again, I go back to Rocket League being played more than a lot of AAA games. It's in the top 10. Now let's look at what Sony's doing, right? You know, the company that's not investing in first party. Confirmed in development. God of War, first party. Confirmed the development from Kojima, but this is funded 100% by Sony Publishing. Spider-Man, made by Insomniac, but is funded by Sony Publishing Gaming Studios. Sony's funding this. In fact, this one game is Insomniac's biggest budget game they have ever done. Detroit Being Human, funded completely by Sony. Gran Turismo 6, first party. The Last of Us 2, first party. Days Gone, they tripled in size. This studio that's making this game tripled in size. Sony got them a new facility, a new multi-million-dollar facility in California to accommodate this size. Chances are they're going to do more than just this one game. They're probably going to make another IP. An Uncharted Lost Legacy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8 games that Sony's putting money for. 8. And then there's rumors of Sucker Punch that's going to unveil the game in E3. And Sony Japan Studios in conjunction with From Software. So Sony's paying for that too, making a new IP. So 2 more new IPs Sony's paying for. That's a total of 10 projects. Detroit Become Human. Hey, thank you. Thank you for the correction. Become Human. I will fix that. Thank you so much for the correction. Thank you. Fixed it. There you go. So how can he say Sony's not putting money into first party? It's right here. He could see it. He knows. He knows what's coming. Am I bugging out, people? Well, why is he saying this? He's smarter than this. I don't understand what he's trying to do. Now I'm going to go to one last segment. And this is the thing I never understand with the Xbox community who brags about this one specific thing. I want you to listen.
Microsoft makes their shit off of everything. You got to think about how much stuff they have. You know, they have contracts and licenses with EA Access. And remember when Sony turned that shit down? They have a lot of little deals like that. So they have deals with different company where they make additional money. And then they also have like little loopholes for the gaming community. And they make their money elsewhere. And it's obvious that they're making it because, like I said before, they're fucking number 12 in profits in the world. So obviously they're making a shitload of money. They're not a 500 last year. They was at 400 something, 406 billion dollars. Now they at 570. I made 101 billion dollars over a year, and they profited that much. They didn't make that much. They profited that much. So obviously they're making money.
Okay, so they're making money. Where is it? Help me out here, people. Why do Microsoft supporters who are gamers care so much, right? Care so much about profit, which is primarily in these areas that don't help out Xbox. 28% of the profits is Office. That doesn't help Xbox. 22% is Microsoft Azure. Hell, Sony could use those. 18% is others. I don't even know what the hell this is. So somebody help me out with this whole big thing. How does $500 billion help the Xbox gamer? You see what I'm saying? Look what Sony's doing with what they're doing. Again, I will go back to Microsoft Word document. Everybody sees this. Again, I'm not a fanboy, so I am including this. But some of you, especially on the Xbox side, just not the real gamers of Xbox, not most of you who listen, I'm talking about other people, you know. They wouldn't count these games if these were PlayStation. If I were to add all the indies that's coming out, I purposely did not add indies in this list. I strictly kept to the big developed games. Because if I were to add indies, the toxicity, they will completely demolish my argument. They will use that, spin it, and completely destroy the point I'm trying to make. So I'm giving Microsoft, actually, on this little list, the advantage, because I included indies for Microsoft. I didn't include any for Sony. I stuck straight to the big games. And even with just sticking to the big games, there is more on PlayStation than what there is on Xbox. This fight, this huge $500 billion and making money everywhere. Listen, man, I get when, you know, Microsoft took over Havoc, Simply Gone and stuff, they're going to make money. But if that doesn't translate to increasing your first party studios and whatever, no, I'm not saying indies don't count, not count now. Indies count, but I'm trying to make the point. I gave the indie advantage to Xbox. I didn't give it to Sony. And even with not listing indie games, Sony still has more games in development. You see what I'm saying? That's how much they invested in games, that I don't even need to include indies to show there are more games in development on PlayStation by Sony than there is on Xbox. And I'm not trying to knock Xbox. I'm just trying to say, why are people saying Sony is not investing in PlayStation games when they clearly are? And you know what? 2099 says this list seems incomplete. They could probably be more games too. You're right. I just went with what's off the top of my head. This list right here is off the top of my head. Just freestyling off the top of my head. The biggest games that I know Sony's developing off the top of my head. You see what I'm saying? So why are we still saying Sony is not investing in IPs? It's right here. We know this. And we could see even more at E3. And then on top of that, in 6 months in December, we got PlayStation Experience 2017. We could see more new games there. So Sony's doing all of this, right? Plus marketing deals, right? With no issues. We're doing multiplayer, we're doing single player, Japanese games. And this year, we've been enjoying lots of content on PlayStation. We've been enjoying content all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. He says this stuff. You know what? Information, and this is the last part of BSHadows, though. Shout out to BSHadows. Check out his channel. All right. You know, we're gonna get better at this. We're all gonna grow and get better at this. We're gonna take back gaming and conversations. We're gonna do this right. We're all gonna grow. We're gonna improve. We are going to evolve. You know what I'm saying? So check out his channel. I'm gonna get him on the podcast. We're gonna do right. We're gonna do this right. We're gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? But each and individual content creator, we need to do right. We need to have honest conversations. All right. So let me close out these windows. You know what I'm saying? Right? To save up on some RAM. And we're gonna talk about one more topic. So I'm done with BSHadows. I will put his link on my channel so you can check out his channel. And I will link the video because the credit to this part is on his channel. So I will link it. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Kmega. Again, we fail to listen. We are failing to learn. And because we fail to listen and we fail to understand and hear other people out, we can't get the right conversations. All right. So Kmega on his channel, all right, he did another Persona is Need to Get Over video. And that's all right. I already moved on from that. But this, when I saw this video, and again, I listen. That's the main thing. I would say that's about me. If people are going to say something, I'm going to listen because I want to hear what they have to say. I want to understand what they say. And if I disagree with their opinion, I will counter it. But I actually heard their opinion and listened to it. So I want you to listen to Kmega right now. I fast forward to this point right here.
As being a niche title. I never criticized the game. I've never criticized the series. I've just told the truth. It's niche. Now, even my boy Puerto Rock.
Now, this is the part where I want you to guys listen to, because he's addressing the video I made. I made a video called "Is God of War Niche?" ? Okay, so I want you to listen what he had to say about that.
And shout out to Puerto Rock, Triple Cup Chuck, and Jabari. And Z coming on to the show on GRG, and we was having a discussion, and we wanted to touch on that, but we were talking about predictions and everything like that. So yeah, go ahead and check out that podcast. It was grown men stuff, no bickering, bitching, moaning.
I'm sorry, like I'm in the wrong timing slot. It's over here. I just looked at my paper. I'm sorry. It's about here. I want you to listen to this. I apologize. It's around this area right here. I want you to listen.
So let's just get that out the way. Another thing, my boy Puerto Rock, right?
Okay, he's about to address the video I made about, I have it on my channel. It's God of War Niche. All right, but listen to this.
Bless his heart. He was trying to make his point.
All right, I was trying to make my point. Now listen to him.
He was trying to, by saying that God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. I was just reading the comments.
There you go. Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? What he just said? This is a problem. I'm going to replay it again. This is a big problem.
My boy Puerto Rock, right? Bless his heart. He was trying to make his point. He was trying to, by saying that God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. I was just reading the comments.
You hear that?
I was just reading the comments. I'm saying that God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. I'm saying that God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. I was just reading the comments. I'm saying that God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. I'm saying that God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. I listened to the video. God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. God of War, and I didn't listen to the video. He was trying to make his point. He was
trying to make his point. What point? What point was I trying to make? You just admitted you didn't listen to the video. So what point was I trying to make? Ladies and gentlemen, content creators are failing to listen. How are we going to have discussions on gaming? Discussion, communication is two ways. It's talking and listening. You got to hear people too. Puerto Rock, God bless his heart. He was trying to make a point. I didn't listen to the video. What point then was I trying to make? You just admitted that you didn't listen to me. So the rest of the video, he's countering something I didn't even say. He doesn't know what I said. So why talk about it? Have the decency to listen. It's communication. It's two ways. There's talking and listening. Kmega doesn't want to listen, man. So what conversation can you have with a person that doesn't want to listen to you, that doesn't want to hear you out? That's not a conversation. There is no conversation. If you can't listen, how do you know what point I was trying to make? Puerto Rock's trying to make a point. What point was I trying to make? You don't know. So why are you going to continue to talk? And I don't need to go in the video. I mean, I will point his video if you want to listen to it too. And I'm going to close this out. The end result, ladies and gentlemen, is we're not doing a good job of listening and learning. And because we make these statements, it contributes to the console war. Content creators are failing. We're the first one to call out you fanboys. Oh yeah, we're on Twitter. We'll come out with the S in our chests. We all look like Justice League and Civil War Avengers. Oh, you fanboys are ruining gaming. But look what we're doing. Contributing to shit. We got content creators saying publishers don't make money off games. We got content creators saying Sony doesn't fucking invest in first party. And we got content creators replying to videos and comments that they don't even listen to in the first place. It's insane. Then how gaming conversation is two ways. You have to listen to the people. Notice I listened to BSHadows podcast. It was about an hour and change. I listened to the entire podcast, which is why I made this video, because I listened. I listened to Kmega's reply. I listened. And that's why I am able to discuss the point they made, because I listened. I did a little bit of critical thinking. Maybe they do have a point. I always try to spend the time to look back and thinking, do they have a point? Maybe they might have a point. Okay? Like, for example, GKB on Twitter one time. He was the first one to talk about niche, and his thing was 3%. He said Persona 5 only sold 3% of the fan base because there's 60 million consoles sold. Therefore, it's niche. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, GKB is saying 3%, 3%. Is 3% the way you define a niche game? So I'm thinking, I'm listening, and I look at other platforms. And we already saw, the best-selling games on PlayStation 2. Majority were 3%. God of War 2. That's the reason why I made the video. Is God of War niche? Because God of War 2 sold less, just a little less, of 3% of the PlayStation 2 fan base. So is that game niche? God of War 3 sold about 5 to 6% on the PlayStation 3. Is God of War niche? That is why I made that video, because it was GKB that spun that idea. So I'm thinking, is 3% is the ratio a fair way to determine if a game's niche? And the answer is no. Because there's a lot of successful big-time games that are console sellers that only sold 3, 4, 5% of a console user base, of a console selling base. So that formula is wrong. And that's the reason why I made that video. But you know who didn't learn? Do you know who didn't get to hear my point? Kmega. Because he admitted he did not watch my video. But yet he wants to counter my point. A point he doesn't know what I made. Ladies and gentlemen, and that's what I want to address to all of you today. You know what I'm saying? It's just wrong, man. And those are my peeps. And I'm gonna set them right. And we're gonna have discussions. I hope they spend the time to learn this video and they can understand to be better. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time that us content creators, we do right by you guys. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have to listen to us. You could do better things. But you guys take the time to listen to us. So I think we owe you that. We owe you to get you the right information. And I'm not saying the right information means, oh, now you got to get on your knees and give PlayStation a blowjob. No, if you don't like PlayStation, cool. If you feel Sony has bad practices, cool. But make sure they're factual, understandable, and something we can all learn from, instead of just making stuff up just so we can add to a narrative. You understand what I'm saying? Don't say Sony's not investing in first-party IPs, so that way a whole bunch of people can now go on Twitter and start attacking or talking shit or having discussions on how Sony's not investing IPs when we clearly see that they are. We clearly see they're spending money on games. Don't do that. Don't say Infamous wasn't supported when the game was successful and the studio, Sucker Punch, is now making a new IP. That's how you know studio's successful, because they're making new IPs. That's what we want. So why are we coming up with arbitrary litmus tests? Why are we coming up with arbitrary stanzas and stuff like that? Come on now. We need to be better. There's people, you guys are listening to us. You take the time, you subscribe to us. You deserve better. And we need to stop this. But anyway, I hope this video was informative. I hope you guys understand that I will always try to provide you with the best information that's possible. And I thank you all for spending the time with me. Please hit that like button. Stay tuned for tomorrow on my podcast. We're doing part 2 of the E3 blowout, this time on Sony. And you guys have been amazing. I hope you all learned something. I will update the description box with the channel providers. But this is your boy, Porter Rock 77. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm out of here. You guys have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow. And for those who are listening, I hope you enjoy the content. But it's important. If you're a content creator, I hope this video helps you. I hope you can see the difference between a content creator that provides good information for your audience to learn, to use, to help them with their hobby. I thank you all, man. Hey, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for spending this night with me. I'm about to play some games. I'm about to play maybe a little bit of Tekken. Or maybe I'll go back to Neo. We'll see what's up. We'll see what I'm in the mood for. But you guys keep it gaming. Enjoy your platform. All right? Stay strong. Xbox Nation, PlayStation Nation, Nintendo Nation, PC Nation. Hell, mobile phone nation. Enjoy gaming. Enjoy your platform. All right? I will see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. You all take care, all right? And have a great night. Peace.